Kamala Harris doing this interview will be the worst decision that they've ever made.
So I said once, I said it 50, 11 times. I need my people to educate themselves and to make sure you educate your children on, I guess, STEM, I don't know what it's called now. But definitely technology, robotic, computer technology.
Well, you know what? We said he was going to be here, and he's just what?
Running some kind of Epstein type deal where he was filming everybody.
What's up, man? You good? I'm good. Now I got a young brother. Everything's good. That's selling out arenas and everything.
Who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
What happens when
Shit, everybody can.
Imagine saving money on your Medicare Part B premiums without giving up any of your benefits. Sound too good to be true? It's not. With the Medicare Advantage plan with a Part B premium give-back benefit, you can.
Kamala Harris doing this interview will be the worst decision that they've ever made. If I'm them, which of course they watch, but they don't care nothing about what I think. I said, if I'm them, her campaign is no way, under no circumstances,
Believe it.
would I ever put her in front of Fox News. It's nothing good that can come from her for that because she has never been pressured the way that she's going to get pressured, A. And the only way that they should do it is if she's in a whole lot of trouble, B. I said it. I said, but I'm looking forward to it as a person that actually wants Trump to win because it'll be great content and it's just going to make it look worse. And Lola Mahone, they jumped right on over the broomstick, right into the fire with Ishrak, Bashrak, and Abednego, whatever it is. Meshach, Ishrak, and Abednego, whatever their name is. And she jumped right in the mire. And I said, Jesus Christ. Jesus X Christ. I said, no, they didn't let this woman jump on there. And he did it. It was almost like they've been watching my interviews trying to figure out how we should approach this. Because I've been saying for the longest that somebody needs to just take one approach, pick one or two main subjects, because they only gonna let her sit in front of you for 20 to 30 minutes. And that's enough time for her to filibuster and throw around a bunch of stories and say how she grew up in the middle class. And by the time that you get to the next question, you can't really press her. So you need to just pick one or two subjects and go. Whatever amount of time that you go. Just pick one or two and press. And the biggest issue is immigration. And I'll be got if he didn't do exactly that. And they brought up Lincoln Riley and all of them too. All right, y'all, let's get to it again. We're going to break this up into 3 parts. So I'm going to read super chats in between the 3 parts. Let me see how long this interview is. Okay, so this interview is like 27 minutes. We're going to go, back to Vice President. How about we go 8, 16, 24, 9, 18, 27. Let's go 9 minutes apiece and let's see what we can get through, all right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Buckle up. Let's get it.
So thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's a favorite spot.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but even with this number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehension.
Brett was playing no game. Brett was having 0 games being played with him today. He said, "You're not gonna skip over my questions. You're not gonna throw your talking points on there. You're not gonna do any of that. All you gonna do,
Answer the question.
all you gonna do
Answer the question.
is answer the questions and respectfully, ma'am, respectfully. I asked you, how many immigrants do y'all think that y'all released into the wild? And you said, no, you know what I'm gonna talk about? No, no. You go. You gotta answer the question.
Answer the question.
0 games. 0. He was having 0
Bullshit.
games being played with him.
Bullshit. You want no
We
bullshit.
have a
So we're estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. Now, let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath,
Y'all broke the fucking border. Y'all broke the fucking border.
We worked on infrastructure.
Y'all
before
broke the
the
fucking
Inflation
border.
Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act,
Y'all broke the
before
fucking border.
before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill,
Y'all
practically
broke
within
the
hours of
fucking
taking
border.
the oath,
Y'all
was a
broke
bill
the
to fix our
fucking border.
immigration system.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
It was called the U.S. Citizenship.
Oh, and he know everything that she about to bring up before she even bring it up. This is. If
Dude.
I'm her campaign staffers and I'm the aides and I'm sitting in the background, I'm like this. You know the cartoon where they be doing like this?
By the tent, yeah.
If I'm the campaign staffers and I'm sitting in the back, I'm like, ooh, this ain't gonna go good. Oh, I'm sorry. I would have called her out again. I'm sorry. We got a
You got
major
the problem.
national security
Yeah,
issue.
the
that we have to
problem,
attend.
yeah,
Sorry, bro, we
yeah,
got to-
yeah,
How we
yeah.
got her out of there on me?
They had to get
Well,
out
never
of there.
sat her down in the first place.
Back of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially
so, but I
the
may I
citizenship for
please
the.
finish?
Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding,
But you,
please?
but
But
this,
you have to let me finish.
you
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and
in
they
the
didn't
middle
bring
of
up that bill.
responding to the point you're raising,
Okay.
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We
Any respect.
recognized from day one that to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal
Yeah,
with
try to squeeze that in up.
points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more
That
border
was
agents.
late.
The
That was
Border
that.
Patrol, I believe the Border Patrol supported the
They
bill.
ain't gonna let you do
It would
that.
have allowed us to stem
Ain't
the
gonna let you
flow
do
of
that.
fentanyl coming
Ain't
into
gonna let
the
you do
United
that.
States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background,
Yeah,
every
before that.
geographic location, and killing people. It would have allowed us to put
Before
more
that.
resources into prosecuting transnational
Before
criminal
that.
organizations,
Yep.
which I have done
Yes, ma'am.
as the Attorney General, former
Before all
Attorney
that.
General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs,
Six,
guns, and human beings. And
Six
Donald Trump,
Democrats.
but let me just finish.
Six
And Donald
Democrats
Trump
voted against that bill.
learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you.
but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats.
Thank you. Somebody can finally bring up the facts and hold her accountable for the BS that they keep on throwing in front of our face because they keep trying to skip over the problem. Listen, I honestly believe that if the Democrats did not fumble immigration in this term so bad, then they probably would have had a chance to win, but they don't. They don't. Because people are not forgetting, and they are being reminded every single day. Every single day, these people are being reminded of what they experienced as far as these immigrants coming into this country, and they're not going to forget it. And the fact that he brought up, and they got the very first person up there is Bernie Sanders. The very first, the most liberal, left-wing political that we've ever seen in our entire life. Bernie Sanders is up there. Anybody who's on left, Bernie is left. Bernie don't have a right. Only go left. Bernie should have been in Michigan so he can do Michigan lefts all day long. That's how left-wing Bernie is.
And he voted
Bernie
against.
is so left. I wouldn't even be surprised. Listen. Bernie believes in socialism. I couldn't believe that he had ever ran for president of the United States before. That is the most left-leaning person in the world. And Bernie Sanders voted against him. And so this is the context that people miss. This is why you had to be there, you had to pay attention to it. And very few interviewers like a Charlemagne the God who is A, her friend, and then B, is not educated enough on policy and what's going on, and the government to be able to hold these people accountable. They can't address this issue. And so when you try to gaslight us and say something that's not true, it's easy for people like Greg to be able to call you out because he already did his research. He calling her out. He fact-checking her. He calling her out for everything.
But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn and Gary, Rachel Moore, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday, campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There's no question about that.
We the people
And I
need to make
can't
it a reality.
imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true.
That is not an apology, man. Let me show y'all what an apology looks like. You know what? It was wrong. First, an apology starts with acknowledgement. We were wrong. We should not have let these people in here. And we knew that there was going to be collateral damage that came along with it. That there was going to be some people that suffered, some people that got maimed, some people that maybe even got killed. Just so happened to be these 3 women, amongst others, but those are the ones that's the most visible, and y'all never said Laken Riley's name. He making her bend the knee. He making her bend the knee. He said, listen, do you owe them an apology? Because yes, in my personal opinion, blood is on their hands. For them to walk around and talk about so much hope and joy and reproductive rights and all of this stuff, but to completely ignore who suffered at the hands of this administration when they could have did something but they didn't do something, and they rolled back like 90 different Trump policies for the border. They rolled them back. That's the part that people don't get. They sit there and say, oh no, we tried to create legislation for it. No, you rolled back the legislation that was already in place that Trump had established that helped to secure our borders, and then you went with the executive action after you couldn't fix a problem. Let me tell you what they really tried to do at the border. because a lot of people wasn't covering this, and I was covering it every single day right here with the One Show Back Chasers. All right, what happened was, and this is my theory, but I'm using substantial evidence and be covering it for a long time to justify what I'm telling to you. I believe, because there's no way in the world that you can tell me that they thought that this would make sense come this election cycle, and that Republicans wouldn't absolutely hammer them on everything that is happening to Americans as a result of the border. Let me tell you what I think was going to happen. This was a plan, in my opinion. This is my theory, my hypothesis, right? My educated guess. From the very beginning, they made sure that they fought Trump tooth and nail, but Trump just continued the border policies of Obama, but then he strengthened them. But they thought that they were going to strip down everything he did and let all of these migrants into the country, and then come back and say, you know what? The immigration system has been broken
Yep.
for as long as we've been alive.
Yep.
And you know what we did? We introduced a bipartisan deal that ultimately strengthened the border with 1,500 new border agents and slowed down fentanyl into this country and all of that. So they created a problem that they ultimately was going to fix. And one of the
Cause
ways
and effect.
to fix it is also by making sure that they put a bunch of bloatware into this bipartisan deal that didn't even get introduced until 2023, which is well after the parole program that they introduced in the beginning of 2023. But they wasn't counting on the fact that first 6 Democrats, strong left-leaning Democrats, was going to vote against it. And they wasn't counting on the fact that the American people was going to reject this because it had so many other things that we actually read that border bill when they usually try to pass this through and say it's a bipartisan agreement. So they created a problem that they thought that they was going to fix. You and your family was going to possibly suffer as a result of it. But then they can come back in the November election and say, listen, we strengthened borders. We fixed things. Now, God only knows what their true agenda was for opening up the borders in the first place, so in Texas, to try to prevent them from having illegal migrants continue to filter into this country. We can only speculate. We can only guess. We can't read minds. We can speculate. And I think that our speculation is relatively true, but God only knows. But the fact of the matter is, they created a problem that they thought that they were going to solve and get promotion for. And the American people, they was depending on y'all to have short memories because they know that y'all like TikTok and Reels and Shorts. And y'all said, forget that one though. Because we also suffer. And you can't have 2 problems. You got to pick a struggle. You can't have 2 problems at the same time. You got to pick a struggle. And so that's what I believe happened. And now she's getting pressed about it.
It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together to ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution.
What if it's a problem that you created?
No, you about to say that.
Correct.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration, border policies catch and release. They were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn, on Grace life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's
Fox came with so much smoke.
Smoked her ass. Smoked her ass like a motherfucking blunt. Smoked her ass.
So much evidence and so much smoke.
Smoked
that
her
you can't
ass.
gaslight us to this. You gotta address this. Baby girl.
Smoked her ass.
You can't just walk away from it.
And get what? She gonna try. She gonna try. She gonna try. She gonna try.
Senate hearings and everything. That's called preparation.
The early days. So do you owe them an apology is what
I'm
you're saying?
going to tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I'm
But-
so sorry for her.
But you put that butt in there.
I want to say
You
this.
ain't put no butt in there.
This is what my house looks like. And I haven't cleaned it in 3 months. That's because I have someone coming to do it for me twice a month.
Goddamn remote.
Let's talk about my trash.
Shit.
So these
What the
people
fuck
work
is remote at?
office 39.
Ain't no fucking commercial. Where the fuck my remote went?
Did an
On
amazing
the
job.
floor?
So I stuck with it. Now I pay
Fuck.
$49 a month.
Where the fuck is my remote? I don't want to
$30
see
an
this
hour
shit.
discount, which means my
I don't
membership
want
cost pays for
to see
itself
this
in under
shit.
2 hours of cleaning.
Where the fuck my remote went, man? Shit.
Life is a
I don't hear that shit neither.
each page.
I want to get back to where the fuck I was. All that bullshit, that commercial
That's not an
bullshit.
apology. That's not an apology. To say, I'm sorry.
She gonna
for
say
your
butt.
loss
She gonna say
is not
butt.
an apology.
She gonna
People
put
do
butt in
that
there.
every single day.
She
They
gonna
run
put
into
butt in
somebody
there.
who lost a loved one.
That thing gonna
And
put
they
butt
say,
in
you know
there.
what? I'm sorry for your loss.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that I'm admitting responsibility. It means that I'm compassionate towards what you're going through.
Yep, that's it. That's all.
I want people to understand the difference. And
She can't understand the difference, dog.
Responsibility and accountability of what the problem is. And saying that I'm responsible. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and that shouldn't have happened, and I shouldn't be a better. We shouldn't have opened up the door. You got to admit and tell me what the problem is that you created that ultimately led to the suffering of my family. To say that I'm sorry for your loss is not an apology. That is supposedly showing empathy for the victim of the crime. Police officers do that to victims all the time when they get robbed or somebody happened or a mother finds a child. Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for That's not an apology. That's not an apology.
Sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with
No,
an individual
no.
who does not want to
If
participate.
I'm the mother of those children, if I'm somebody who suffered at the hands of an illegal migrant that wasn't supposed to be in this country, that came in under the border under this regime,
You can't talk over that.
I will hit. That would not be enough. Hey, I'm sorry to be a loss, but let's talk about what's going on over here.
Yeah, butt. That butt. You can't put that butt in there.
Any solutions. Let's talk about that as well. Right? In all fairness, I've told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border rescue story. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
We've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before.
Y'all broke it. Y'all
Well,
broke it.
let me, if anybody is campaigning for Donald Trump right now in this particular moment at 7 minutes and 29 seconds into this interview, is Kamala Harris. Let me rewind it for the people in the back, for the Eric D's and all of the women that just continue to come at men and say, hey man, y'all supposed to be voting this way. Let me go ahead and use this as evidence. Judge, I would like to enter in Exhibit A. Exhibit A, Judge.
When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
We've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before.
Nah, even before. Even before, so she let you know that Donald Trump shit was doing good.
And if I'm AIDS in the back, if I'm her campaign manager, I'm like, oh, Jesus.
God damn, she didn't just do that. She didn't just do that. She didn't just do that. You just didn't do that. You didn't just tell on yourself.
So now you finally admit,
Yep,
because you got pressure.
Yep. 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 Yep.
And so now you got pressure.
You got pressure.
You know what?
What?
This ain't even Trump's fault. This was way more.
Yep.
He just
Yep.
tried to come in and fix the problem.
There you go. And then we
He
fucked
just
it up.
tried to come in and stem the flow of migrants into this country.
And then he did that.
Flow of fentanyl into this country. What you like to say, transnational gangs that you supposedly prosecuted. So now you finally admit, hey, Brent, let me give a round of applause for Brent. In less than 7 minutes, I told y'all they was going to have an interview less than 30 minutes long. It's less than 7 minutes. Brett made her, put her in a finger pull leg lock.
Yep.
Put her in a finger pull leg lock. Let me rewind it again for the people in the back. Because I want y'all to hear this. Hear this with your eyes. Listen to understand. Hear this with your eyes. To hear this with your ears. You got 2 ears and a mouth for a reason. Listen to understand and not listen to respond.
Yeah, you can't understand it, dog. And you said it right the first time. Listen with your eyes. The third eye.
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before. Let's be honest about that.
That thing told on herself.
This is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear. I think we all are.
But it was all right.
It needs to be fixed.
It was fixed when Donald Trump came in.
I was just there at the border talking
For the first time.
For the first time.
For the first
For
time.
the first time.
Actually, the second time in an entire 3.5 years. This is her second time in her entire 3.5 years.
No, not to the border part she went to. That was her first time.
To the border. And she was there for a quick photo op that was not actually there to solve the problem and see what the issue is, because they already know the issue.
with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist, they will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett. That's how the system works.
They always want to throw money at shit. Always want to throw money at shit.
Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about. But you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you.
Oh, I know. Listen, you know what that look is? That's the look of brokenness. That's the look of despair. I used to have that look on my face when I would get in trouble at school, back in elementary school, and the teacher would catch me, and I would think, okay, well, listen, maybe she can just give me detention, and I'll just tell my mother that I had to stay after school in order to go to basketball practice or whatever. And they would say, you know what? We're going to suspend you and we're going to call your mother. And I had that same look on my face. I said, you know why? Because I knew it was over. I knew it was waiting on me at the end of that rope. I knew that when I got home, it was going to be a good leather strap. That good old leather. And God, please, get to me before my father got home. I would take the book to my mother before I got my father. Please let me tell my father. My father got me. That look right there is the same look I had on my face.
Defeated. I'm done. You got me. I'm defeated. I'm done. You got me.
I knew that bill was coming.
I'm defeated. I'm done. You got me.
You know what I'm saying? It's a horrible feeling.
I'm defeated.
Caught like that, and they say, listen,
I'm done.
all of the
You got me.
that you said that they spoke to, they endorsed Trump. That gotta hurt. That gotta hurt. When you start getting sick, I don't feel good. You start getting the bubble guts because you know 3 o'clock is coming, and school about to let out, and mama already know what you gotta deal with. You start crying before you even get to the house. I gotta use the bathroom. I gotta take that shirt off.
You got me.
This woman is getting a whooping on live TV. Live TV, getting a whooping. Look at Gorilla. Michaela Gorilla. Look, this is a real life beatdown.
Been quote a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock.
That's why
I get it.
There's one.
So we're 8 minutes and 51 seconds in. 1/3 of the way. Don't worry, this is going to be the greatest live stream of all time. We're going to break this out. This is a masterclass at Brett Phillips.
If you want to get your name, phone number, and address